Okay, my friends, you see what you see back here, and how would you assume that that got to be in that homogeneous state like that? All those different particles, to me, they're ground up together, and they are granular. They're ground up, and I can show you a different shot that'll show they are ground up pieces. So let's think of why would that happen. Let's find the other shot that shows this one here. All right, now see, you can see they're ground up pieces. I see they're broken up little pieces and ground up, and there's brown and little reddish looking ones and black and white chunks all over the place. Now, how would you expect that to happen? And then look at this. This is really interesting because this, as a matter of fact, this is my countertop, so I know that this is the deal with this. And I looked around for the whole countertop for metal, and basically that's the only piece I could really find. So, what does that tell me? I understand the anatomy of creatures, and there is metals in creatures. There's a lot of metals, not a ton, but they're here and there, and you can't avoid them. However, you can leach them out. You can take them out with alchemy, and that's what happened. Somewhere in the past, this was ground up. It's ground up, I'm telling you, and that's. Metals were removed, as far as I can tell, because that's the only piece I could really find that was metal. And there's a ton of metals. As a matter of fact, here's look. This is that's like a toe. And the reason it's got all those metals in it is because that was somehow like settled into it. Toes, obviously, they're bottom part of the anatomy. And then see this here, look. This is still, you can still see just a taste of bone on this. And you can see the red blood where the red blood ran off. So that's where, whoops, that's where the bone is, if you can see that. I hope that's visible. That's the last bit of the bone, and that's the last bit of the red blood that was in this. It ran out right out the tip. It was here, and that's actually the guy's callus right there. This is a big toe. That's the callus, and this is the vein side. See the black there? It's maybe hard to see that, but that's the vein side, and these are the two veins, and they suck back. And this is the artery side, but it was capped over with this callus. Cool, huh? So anyway, that's what you got there as far as ground up flesh. Now, I could show you right here with my mud fossils. I'm going to just show you what they are, and then I'm going to put them in the microscope. Put this little microscope here, and we'll be looking at it. Now, this one here, as you can see, is a bone. That's a bone head, and it still has the cartilage on it. And this one here, look, see, here's the deal. Mud fossils blow out the bones. The bones go away. You see, that's the last bit of bone in this one. That's it right there. And you say, why do bones go away? Well, here's what happens. In salt water, salt preserves. They used to use it to preserve foods, and it preserves flesh, and it transitions bones, and it turns bones into hydrocarbons and ferritins and so forth. The salt is a very chemically active substance, and just to show you, I don't know, I do a lot of chemistry, so you see it. It's on both sides, NaCl, extremely reactive. So that's why all of these things invade the bloody tissues. Well, let me just put it this way: it invades bones. It gets there's a membrane around bones that's supposed to keep it away from this saltiness, and that gets invaded. Now we're going to start looking at the structure of this stuff, and we're going to look at the surface. All right, you see this? That's a bone. I hope you understand that. This right here, let me get this microscope there. Okay, now this right here is a lung, and that was DNA certified, so there's no question. And anybody that is an autopsy guy or anatomist understand that's the pattern of the pleura. We're going to be looking at this texture, and that's where the blood runs down to the tab that sort of locks that lung in there, and there's another little tab at the top that's broken off. And this is the depression of the heart. It's just a left lung, and you see it's flat as a pancake. And they all are. And why are they flat, Roger? Well, they're flat because, you see, this guy's leg or something. I'm telling you, and I will show you, I'm not kidding you. You can see the pattern of the leg, of the bone inside of here. Here's the other piece to it. And that's what happens. They call these ultramafic and all these flat-sided things. Well, they were soaking wet at one time. I'll show you this. When you see this in a microscope, you see it's exactly the same as all the rest of them. It's got that fleshy pattern. And that's just not accidental. It's because they were at one time alive. All right, so we're going to be looking at it. Now this is ground up flesh. This is not the pattern of the surface, but it's not far off because it's just ground up everything. All right, let's see in a second. All right, this is the lung, and this is a DNA certified lung. It's no question. It's a human lung. And here's the bloody part down at the bottom. You see, we got the DNA out of here somewhere. I'm not sure where it came out, but this is where it was loaded with DNA down here. There's all that bloody stuff. Now, so that's the pattern of the lung, and that's the pattern of pleura, and that's the pattern of this kind of stuff. Now, you see there, and then you see down here, very, very similar looking structure, and you'd almost think it might be natural stone, this one down here. You'd think that would be natural, but it's all the way through. These are just on the surface. This is the surface of the stuff, and it's totally different inside. So, and here's that big square one. You see right there, same stuff. All right, that's the surface though. That, and you see all these little holes and everything. That's the blood vessel holes and all that would be coming down into this now. But when we look inside this one, I'm going to show you down here. I got the lights off because you can see it better. But this is the one right here, and I'm going to break it. Well, I'm not going to break it; it's already broken. But here's in half. Now we're going to look on the inside. All right, that's the inside. Totally different. Now I'll go to the edge where it changes. You see right there? You see it? That's the skin. And then you come into the tissue inside. So the countertop down here, they cut slab after slab after slab. Unless it was so thick, the skin, and that is possible. You know, it is. I mean, some of these things are just absolutely enormous, these creatures. So that's, but anyway, this is that square one. See, that's a square block. There's the outside of it. There's the inside of it. There's what I call a rind. Same thing on the other side of it. Here's the rind over this side. Oops, hard to see. All right, here's a good spot right there. See? There's the rind right around the edge, and then you go into the inside, which is just totally different. So that's kind of interesting. Now, I showed you the lung, and this is the bone that I showed you that had the I'm sorry, the oh boy, I can't think of the word. Yeah, there we go. Look, see down here. Same stuff. It'll be a little more eroded, a little less eroded. And here it is, the cartilage I was talking about. And here's the cartilage up here. But it's still the same thing because they are all wrapped with what's called tunica. All right, that's what the Greeks called it, which is a bone wrap. And as a matter of fact, let me show you what it looks like. Alright, let's come down here. It's a bone wrap, actually. Tunica. Where is it? Alright, you see that? That triangle. Right there and right there. That wraps right around this thing like a fabric, and they actually sew together in the spots. I have stuff that is just hard to believe how. Look at this. Here, let me show you another one. Here's a lung. All right, there's a lung, and what happened with this one is the pleura has eroded off. It just sort of pushed its way off. There's the inside of the lung. There's the pleura. Again, flat as a pancake on the back, because these were from the a salt flood, and the guy died like that, and that's what happened. And then the lung eroded away. I see up here, look. This is the lung I just showed you with the eroded stuff here. Hold on. It's the same stuff. See it? All creatures, my friends. All creatures. Okay, my friends, this is from my human hand that I have in my yard here that came from a giant, which is also in my yard. And that fingertip right there is DNA certified human, and anatomist checked it out, same thing, human. CAT scan by Jesse Grant and Associates, and the CAT scan was viewed by the anatomist. Now, this is the, hold on, let me see if you can see all that. This is the bottom, and these are like, you have pads. This is a left thumb, and that is where, at the very tip of every finger, you have what's called an apical tuft. And it's one of these. Now this is from the other side where it all eroded away. I have the knuckle, and I have some other. Well, here's another one. This one here is from the eroded side, and that is the pattern. They call it a carbon silhouette of the distal phalanges. Okay, and this would be sitting right out here, and this one's all eroded out, and that's where the artery blows out. And that's the artery side. This is the vein side, doesn't blow out. See how it has that triangle thing right there? You see over here, whoops. You see a triangle? That's where the tendons lock in there, so make your fingers can move around. And they have that triangle there. See it? Same sort of thing, triangles. And this one here would be right there. That's where the apical tuft sits. And these little balls, there's little straps in the balls that go into all these little tuberosities. And that gives you a lot of strength on your fingers. And this is, wow. Now, let's look at this in the microscope. I broke a piece off on the bottom so you can see the rind. Whoops. Where you can see where the rind matches up. How does it go like this or something like that? Yeah, right there. There it is. Alright, so now, and this is the vein side, that's the artery side. See how it's black there? That's real black. That's when you know you're into the vein side, when you get that real black. The other side's going to be red, you know, reddish. Okay, so let's take a look in the microscope. Okay, see that's skin. Skin is a little different. The really fine skin is like this. And that, see all those little balls? There's tiny little straps in there, so you can stretch it this way and they'll come back. These are the anchors. And all of these things are like these little strappy things in there. And they go this way and that way, and it'll come back. Alright, so that's the kind of skin. And see all the little balls? But it's basically the same thing. Now on the bottom, this is where you have grip skin. This is different. It's a tougher skin. Look at, see, there's all the blood vessel holes and everything in here where it erodes away. See? Alright, but that's the same stuff. That's now where I broke the piece off so you can see it coming around the rind. Here you come, see there's the rind. Whoops. See, that's how black vein blood gets. You see there's the vein holes right there. See that? Isn't that cool? Let me see if I get a better shot. You see it's coming right out of the vein. Isn't that something? Now on the other side it's going to be red. But I didn't break that one. Down somewhere in here, if you could get down in there and break it open, you'd see it would be red inside there, not black. This is where the bone is back here. Bones have a lot of black in them, a lot of ferritin, which is iron. Well, iron is in the blood, and it leaks out. You see right there, there's another one leaking out, black. I got a lot of them with the red blood leaking out. I don't see a lot of them with the black like that. I mean, I do, but I don't see a ton of them. Let me see, this one here, this is an artery. You see down inside there, arteries turn like a real brownie, like brownies. But you can see coming up, it would be red up in here, but when it gets way down inside, they get like a darker look to them. Anyway, that's Mud Fossil USA.